Before the video begins, I'd like to put a disclaimer that this is a sequel to my distractors guide that I made a week or two ago. Before you watch this video, please go and watch that one, because in this video I'm going to be using information implying that you have watched that video. So if you do not know how to distract every twisted yet, go watch that video, because in this one you will need to know how to distract multiple kinds of twisteds to even understand how they combine. Anyways, as stated in this video, I will show you how to distract twisted combinations. So this is stuff like the Astro or like Sprout Shelly, stuff that's generally just harder and some people may need some extra help learning how to do. I don't have every twisted combination in this video. If there is a twisted combination you would like me to cover, put it in the comments, and I will try and cover it in like a part 3 sometime. I didn't get that many combinations, as it's kind of tough to generalize all of them, but just do that if you want me to do certain combinations. I will gladly do a part 3. Anyways, with that, just enjoy the video and see if you want something new. Start us off, we have Bobette and the Craft Sibling. This is a combo that I would not recommend taking on, but if you are skilled enough, I'm sure you can. This could also be a very map-dependent one. Here you can see I kind of just wrap around the Christmas tree on this map. Bobette is exclusive to the Christmas event only, so you probably won't have to deal with this like that often or anytime soon for that matter. But I would just revolve around something circular. Find the most circular object you can, and revolve around that with Bobette and Scraps. Just make sure that whenever Scraps starts to attack, you sprint behind the thing you're circling around. You might need an Astro on standby to give you stamina support, but it's you could probably handle it with just some stamina items or just good management. Next up, we have Astro and a Craft Sibling. This one is usually easier, but you have to be a fast tune to manage this well. In this recording, I'm playing Flutter, so I was struggling quite a bit, but it's still possible as a 4-star movement character. You'll just need very good stamina management. Make sure that you do not run as much as possible, and especially do not run whenever you have a small brief period where Astro's slowness debuff is not applied. I will apply the same logic to other Astro tips later in the video, but just do not run, because there is a small period where Astro does not affect you with Tier 3, which is very important for regenerating stamina. Sprout and a Craft Sibling is probably one of the hardest mains to manage with a Craft Sibling. It's just it's really hard to manage Sprout's tendrils and a Craft Sibling, because Sprout's tendrils can be placed in inconvenient areas that make it so you cannot easily avoid a Craft Sibling attack. In this recording, you can see I try and place the tendrils away from the island, so you just need to kind of memorize when Sprout is going to attack, or at least internalize it. Try and just keep in mind that every 18 steps, Sprout will place a tendril. I know it's hard to count, but if you want exact timings, that is how often. You just really need to manage your tendrils and make sure that you're not placed near the island that you are looping a Craft Sibling around. In this recording, I even end up getting hit because I don't manage it properly. So just be very careful. This is one of the harder combos, and I would recommend having a backup distractor take Goob or Scraps while you take Sprout or something. Either or. Just be very careful. And then for the last Craft Sibling combo I have, it is V and a Craft Sibling. This is one of the hardest ones, but also it's not too difficult. It's just you need an Astro or something to give you stamina, I would say. As Pebble, it's probably a lot easier. In this recording, I'm playing as 2-Heart Louie. On 1-Heart Louie, it would also probably be so much easier. Just find a tiny circular object the best you can, and revolve around it like you normally would. You're going to have to run more, and especially since the tactic with V is that you have to put long distance between you and her, it becomes very difficult because you cannot do that with the Craft Siblings. You need to be close to an island so that you can avoid their hit. So this is a very difficult combination to pull off, but in this recording I did do it as just like a slightly above 4-star movement character. As a 4-star movement though, I would not recommend trying this. Just to leave either V or a Craft Sibling free so that you are fine. Don't do this as a 4-star, but 5-star and 1-Heart Louie I'm sure can handle this great. They'll probably be fine. I would just recommend not doing this though. Although this combo is doable, it is very hard to pull off. I would wait and get a backup distractor to deal with one with Goob or V. Probably the faster distractor takes V. Our first Sprout combination is Sprout plus Shelly. This is usually a pretty easy combination. There shouldn't be much issue here. I would recommend being a 5-star movement tune. 4-star is kind of rough, but you can still do it. Shelly just catches up sometimes. So, by the way, Shelly is interchangeable with Toodles since they're both the same movement. I would just recommend taking up a large area and making sure you have a lot of space to avoid tendrils. And always memorize where you place the tendrils. Make sure that Sprout does not get off you, as his speed will be a problem because he'll fall behind a lot. So stay in a large open area like you can see in this recording, where I kind of just use an entire space. Sprout plus Astro is probably the easiest main combination out of all these. It's very easy to just handle. You'll just have to make sure you avoid Sprout tendrils at all times. But you should be just fine. I mean, it's really not that hard. It's like distracting Sprout with commons normally, but you just have to be a little more careful about your stamina. And again, do not run whenever Astro's Tired 3 effect is no longer on you, as you will have more time to regenerate stamina. And finally, for this segment, we have V and Sprout. V and Sprout is actually probably one of the harder ones. I'll cover Pebble Sprout in a bit, just not in this section. But V Sprout is probably the pretty hard. Like, I don't think it's easy, but you just have to be a pretty fast tune. Dodging the tendrils, especially in a smaller area, can be pretty difficult. I don't have many tips for this. You just keep your distance from V and avoid the tendrils like you would. Usually use an open area. The more open of an area you have to distract, the better. This is a pretty doable combination though. First we have V and Astro. V and Astro is actually a pretty rough combination, as you usually have to run when you're distracting V, and Astro makes you regen stamina less. Apply the same logic with Astro's Tired debuff, so do not run whenever it's not affecting you so that you get the most value out of your stamina regen. And I would recommend only distracting this as a 5-star movement tune or as 1-heart Louis. But it's totally possible as a 4-star. I've done it before. It's not that hard. But you will struggle with stamina, so you're going to have stamina items or an Astro to help you out. Shelly plus Astro is one of the easiest combinations, at least as a 5-star movement tune. As a 4-star movement, this could actually be a pretty difficult one, but I think you'll be fine. For this one, you just really need to keep an open area where you won't have to run much, because the more straight of a line you run in, the less stamina you will have to burn through. For this one, my only tip is just to keep your distance and make sure that your stamina does not deplete. Pebble plus commons is actually super hard, and only 2 tunes in the game can do this combo, which is Louis on 1 heart and Pebble. Pebble plus commons is super hard because keeping the commons on you is really hard with a super fast twisted. So you're gonna need like a large open space that you can easily wrap backwards to round up the commons again, so that they don't lose attention or anything. Astro's room is one of the best rooms for this, but as you can see in this recording, I'm doing it just fine in this diner map, so it's not restricted to Astro's room. And you will need an Astro on standby almost every time. As Louis 1 heart though, you do not need an Astro, but it would still be advised. Especially, and like Pebble can distract this, but it's just a lot more rough, and you'll need an Astro or maybe even a second one. You'll just have to be very good about managing your stamina, use as much space as possible. Okay, now we get into some of the more crazy floors that I've recorded. These ones don't have much of a category, but they're definitely worth noting. So my first example is Pebble, Bobette, Sprout. This was a weird combination. V was also on this floor, but I wasn't dealing with her, so because I had a backup distractor take V, because V Pebble's not possible. But I was distracting Pebble, Bobette, and Sprout as Pebble, but I had my clown horn active, so that made this easier. But you could still do it normally. you'll just need to take the widest area you can in the entire map. You need an open space, because if you cannot avoid the tendrils, you are going to get hit, or it will cause you to waste a lot of stamina. Whenever Sprout is about to place a tendril, or you just kind of like memorize how often, always move to the side out of your main path so that you do not have to swerve. If you have to swerve, you are wasting your stamina and Pebble will catch up to you, so be careful. Bobette kind of just acts as like a middle, like doesn't really do much in my opinion. You can distract her normally anyway, so it's not really an issue. But she'll still be a problem, and you can't, because of her, you can't distract Pebble around an island. So this is usually how you'd have to do it. And then finally, the ultimate combo, Shelly, V, Astro, and Sprout at the same time. Yes, this is possible. As Pebble or One Heart Louie, you can take this combo on like very well. You will need an Astro, so keep that in mind. You need an Astro to do this. There's no way you will not need an Astro. You might be able to supply on like bottles of pop and stuff, but I don't think it'll sustain you long enough. So just for this one, there's a lot to cover. So you have to keep distance away from Shelly because of V. You will need to make sure there's a good amount of distance. So open space required. You cannot do this in a tight space. It's impossible. The Sprout tendrils will make you waste too much stamina, which in Astro will cause you to lose your stamina, of course. So you will need to take the largest space you can. Astro's room is the best place for this. This is why I love Astro's room. And of course, Astro is going to make it so you regenerate less stamina. So V is more of a problem. You can't run as often. So I think this combo is actually not as hard as you think it will be. In this recording, I'm doing it in a blackout though, on like a bad map for it. So it was a rough time. But it still works. You can still do this. Just place the Sprout tendrils as out of your way as possible so that you will not have to swerve around them, because again, you will waste your stamina. And keep distance from V. That's like all the tips I have for this. But with that, those are a lot of the main twisted combinations that I wanted to cover in this video, as most of these are pretty difficult to manage. So let me know in the comments what other twisted combinations you would like, and I'll like seek them out to get footage of them for you and show you. Bye bye.